Welcome to SuperTalk Outdoors, where every single Monday at lunchtime we celebrate the world-class outdoors of the state of Mississippi because this is the capital of the outdoors in America. I want to thank you for joining us on the powerful SuperTalk Mississippi network. It's October the 27th. And as I often say, I'm amazed at how time is flying. Listen, I spent some time up in the Mississippi Delta this weekend. We got some planning done, and the last couple of years we've been able to drill most of our plots. We actually didn't do that this year, but the last couple of years we did drill the majority of our plots, which meant we had to come back later and do fertilizer, because if you don't time that fertilizer right, as you well know, if it sits on the ground for any length of time at all in that sun, it will just completely zap it. But with the forecast we had, was able to do both the seeds and the fertilizer, and then the rain came. So, boy, when you time it like that, it is special. And, of course, in the Mississippi Delta, with that incredible alluvial soil, you almost don't need fertilizer. That's one of the cool things about where we plant. But we did it anyway, and what that means is we're going to have a wide variety of incredible growth happening as a result of not only the rain we got, but more coming. So, and then cooler weather coming. It's you can feel the air of hunting season all around us as we think about bringing family and friends up to the camp and just spending quality time together. That's what it's all about. I mean, for people who boil it down to just about hunting, boy, they miss it. They miss what it's all about. Even though this is the capital of the outdoors in Mississippi, and the hunting and fishing has never been better. And speaking of fishing, in the second half of the show today, we're going to have Captain Kyle Johnson, who's going to join me. Fishing in coastal Mississippi, as we said many times, has never been better. Had a little bit of rain that kind of slowed some of the charter boat guys down. But anyway, he'll be joining us, and we'll chat about that. In the first part of the show, I've actually been looking forward to getting my friend Todd Adkins back on the show. He represents governmental affairs and other aspects. I mean, he's just a leader at the Sportsmen Alliance, which is a national organization that was founded in the 1970s. They're looking out for, protecting hunting and fishing and trapping for many generations to come. So they have to stay in touch with what's happening in the nation. So without any further ado, let me welcome my friend Todd back to the show. How you doing, Todd?
Ricky, it's so good to be with you. I think of you as my touch base with the real world when I'm going to DC and all these state capitals and operating in these states where folks just don't think like you and I do. So I always love coming on. It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, it's good. It's good to have you. And by the way, I should also point out that the Sportsmen's Alliance has this incredibly important relationship with the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks Foundation. And that mega raffle that you do every year with them that you help sort of facilitate, it's happening as we speak, isn't it?
It sure is. First email contacts have gone out to folks in Mississippi. Maybe you missed it. Go check your inbox, your spam folder, everything. We're so proud to partner with that all-important foundation. That because what's cool about it is you get to engage in a raffle if that's what you want to do. And we've got a whole host of prizes, 300 prizes, 400,000 or more in total value. But part of that ticket purchase you make stays right in the state of Mississippi. So we love partnering with such foundations. And we've got this relationship now. And we feel so good about it because I like doing raffles. A lot of people do. That's great. But when you know that that's going to end up in the water, in the soil, in your neighborhood, or at least part of it will, really, really cool. So we love it.
Well, as you know, I've been a huge supporter of the foundation over a lot of years, and it was formed many years ago as a mechanism. If you think about the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks and the money that flows into it through license sales, et cetera, they'll never have enough money to do the kind of things they need to do. So the foundation was created and has this incredible board. Very proud to support their efforts. A board composed of volunteers from across the state. And their number one objective is to help with things like this, raising money, the governor's hunt, the raffle, and to support the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks to help them fill gaps in funding that they have along the way. And we've had them on the show many times to talk about that. But one of the great things about what you guys bring to the table is you bring kind of the engine that drives the raffle. And once you develop that, that's a real skill set and capability you bring that really makes something like this go really smoothly. First of all, thank you for doing it, but also talk a little bit more about that partnership.
Yeah, so the way it works is we deal with the headaches, and that's the cool part about it. For me, to be frank, we have the kind of administrative personnel who have been doing raffles for a very long time. We put together the prize packages. We connect all the dots with all those relationships. We figure out which firearms, et cetera, are going to go into the raffle, like the trucks, all of the cash, everything. And I must say, for folks who are interested, really check this raffle out this year, because we're starting something brand new. We have a number of side raffles now, one called Fishing Frenzy, which focuses on the fishing aspects of all the things we do. We also have a Dream Vacation of a Lifetime raffle. That's just about, hey, is there somewhere in the world you'd like to go? So those side raffles are really cool. And then ultimately, if you purchase, I believe, it's 3 mega tickets overall for the big raffle. We have a special side raffle for 5 Browning firearms, all in one fell swoop. So we're doing these side raffles, which should, I think, for a lot of folks who don't perhaps want to spend quite as much, there's options now. So once again, we figured out how to administer these things. We've been doing it for a number of years now. They're very, very successful. So again, as an outdoorsman, I'm just pleased that we get to partner with the foundation so that we know a substantial portion of that ticket price is going to end up in the water and the soil down in Mississippi itself.
So more than $400,000 worth of prizes. Grand prize is a 1925 Ram F-150 1500 4x4 and $40,000 cash, 44 hunting trips, 100 firearms. There's optics, ultimate waterfowl packages, and so much more. So I guess you could probably just do a search on the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks Foundation. Find that website, and there'll be a button on their homepage that brings you to this. And it's very successful. It's going well year after year after year. The mega tickets are only $100 per ticket. So, anything else you want to say about it before we shift gears?
No, I just want to reiterate, folks can feel really good about that. If they like doing raffles, this is a great place to, number one, have some fun, potentially get a truck or some cash, and at the same time know that a portion of that purchase is going to end up right back in Mississippi where it belongs, right?
Yeah. So appreciate you guys doing that. That's been terrific. Hey, so listen, I always give just a really short snippet at the beginning about what your organization is all about. But what's your elevator speech on your organization?
Sure. The Sportsmen's Alliance founded back in the 1970s, as you say, and it was founded by a group of folks who came together when they attempted to put it on the ballot in Ohio to let the citizens vote on canceling trapping of all types all the time, just prohibit trapping altogether. Now you would think, wait, Ohio, that's kind of a hardcore red state. It's middle America, all of that. Well, we've now learned over these multiple decades, they will come after us, our people, our community, our way of life. And we feel like it's just the right and the left coast that do that. No. Those folks are working to get us off the landscape, right? The anti-hunters, the animal extremists. So this was kind of an early warning back in the 70s. We will ban trapping. Now, for folks who enjoy the outdoors, maybe they don't understand trapping or think about trapping. Trapping is vitally important to fish and wildlife managers. So that was kind of the warning shot across the bow. Founded this organization to fight that ballot initiative question, right? We won that fight. And then everybody said, look, they're starting to try to get these questions passed by the people in several states about bear hunting, about hunting with dogs, about cougar hunting, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, we have no shortage of need. when it comes to the things we do. We fight for the people who hunt, the people who fish, the people who trap. A lot of groups are kind of centered on species, Ducks Unlimited, Delta Waterfowl. That's wonderful. And I'm a member of almost every organization you can imagine. We fight for the people. So that's what makes us a little bit different. We see the people as the motor of conservation with their license dollars and everything else.
I think that's I actually have a comment I want to make about the anti-hunter community. It amazes me when you study the biology, how you even still have an anti-hunter effort. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation. Welcome back to SuperTalk Outdoors. Listen, are you looking to purchase your perfect piece of hunting property, upgrade your farm equipment, or have you been dreaming of owning your slice of heaven? Out in the country, don't we all? Look no further than Mississippi Land Bank for your financing needs. For more than 100 years, farming families and landowners in North Mississippi have turned to Mississippi Land Bank for all kinds of financial solutions, whether it's for land or equipment or livestock. For more information, visit mslandbank.com or go by and see one of their friendly staff at any of their offices. We are thrilled to have Mississippi Land Bank as a sponsor of SuperTalk Outdoors. Hey, we'll move back over to my friend Todd Adkins from the Sportsmen Alliance. In fact, we're gonna finish this part of the conversation around this anti-hunting thing that they have to really pay attention to. But then we're going to get to the government shutdown. You know, what does an organization like the Sportsmen Alliance do when there's a government shutdown that could impact outdoorsmen? So we'll come into that in just a second. But you know, one of the themes of this show, Todd, is to bring in biologists and others who are focused on species management, whether it be white-tailed deer, ducks, you know, the alligator comeback in Mississippi, the wild turkey, and so on. And when you have the biologists and the people, for example, at the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, who have to say grace over those species, and you start to really appreciate what biology is teaching us about why it's important to manage those species. And if you don't do that well, where do you end up? Where do you end up if you don't have an invasive species plan, for example, around something like the wild hog? And what kind of damage can that create? It amazes me that when you really do understand that, and then you add to that the culture of hunting and the generational positive impact that it has on people, when you put all that together, how there is even still an anti-hunting community, it amazes me.
Yeah, me too. And we have the benefit of growing up in our community and embracing our community and the way we see the world, right? So I'm not forgiving them, but they clearly have a different worldview altogether. What I know for a fact, and all of us do, is the rest of the world envies our fish and wildlife management system here in this country. Hunters, anglers, and trappers are the backbone of that entire system that's now over a century old. You know, everybody complains about Canada geese on a golf course. Sometimes our successes can get to us. I understand that. But there's no other place in the world that's like the United States when it comes to fish and wildlife management. It just doesn't exist. So they'd rather parachute in, and they only kind of rely on emotional arguments that the science of effectively managing fish and wildlife is not relevant. I don't want you to hunt. I don't like it when you hunt. I don't like when you harvest fish and game. It's just a different worldview. And unfortunately, we have a lot more Americans now growing up in at least suburban areas. A lot of the country used to be in a rural area. A grand percentage of us kind of had a connection to the outdoors every day when we woke up, right? Even if we didn't live on the farm, even if we were in a rural area, you just have a different understanding of the way the world works. Well, now so many of us at best are in a suburban environment where that connection's completely lost. So unless you are raised in a community with exposure to these ideas, well, we have to effectively manage things. Or you're going to have black bears attacking people. You're going to have cougars attacking people. You're going to have coyotes taking every cat and dog in the neighborhood. You have to effectively manage things. So we're connected to it almost by our very nature of the folks who surrounded us when we were young. Unfortunately, a lot of people just don't have that.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. And you know, from a data point of view, if you just want to get beyond the biology for a second and see when you don't manage, for example, white-tailed deer, look at the number of incidences where cars come in contact with them and all the other issues surrounding, poor management of the population. It's so compelling, and we'll continue. I don't feel like, this show is really about informing those who love the outdoors and celebrating the efforts for those who love the outdoors in a way that we can all sort of appreciate what our role is within that context, as opposed to trying to make an argument against anti-hunters. I don't think that anti-hunters, as a general rule, would even listen to this show. But if they do, maybe they're learning something that might turn their point of view about that. Hey, listen,
Right.
the shutdown, we should not be in a shutdown right now. The politics of that, we'll leave for another day. But the reality is the shutdown will eventually start to impact outdoorsmen in so many different ways. And one of the things you guys are doing is sort of monitoring that. What do you see currently?
Well, it's more about what we've seen in the past. So I'm going to first ask your viewers and listeners, you have to be aware. You have to, as soon as you hear you're at the bait shop and somebody tells you, holy cow, there's now a lock on that gate at Mississippi has 1.5 million acres of public land, federal public land. What we've seen in the past, when we haven't had a good administration, right, during the Biden administration, is the shutdown was a perfect time to go ahead and start throwing gates up because we can't manage this property right now. So we're going to shut down hunting programs, etc. We're right in the middle of hunting seasons right now in many areas of the country. So info@sportsmensalliance.org, and that's sportsmen's, MENS. If you or your buddies or your friends or family members hear about, hey man, I used to go deer hunting on this national forest and now it's shut. They closed the parking area. Tell us about it right now. Again, we have a good administration right now. I'm not trying to call out emergency red flags, but we have to be aware when the money starts running out completely, the government has to make decisions, and access to public lands is one of the things they will begin to limit. So I need everybody to just be aware of this going forward. If you hear about something, send us an email straight away so we can get on it and see if we can address what's going on.
Hey, so in the short time we have left, two other issues I want to check on. Obviously, we're kind of concerned about this issue of making public land, or at least some efforts to make public hunting lands, put it in the private sector. It's kind of there's been ebbs and flows as it relates to that. But where are we right now as it relates to that?
Right now, we're good. And I will say by good, I'm putting that in quotes. We're better where we were over the summer. Senator Mike Lee really has an issue that he wants to address. I'll just put it that way. And it became a major firefight in Washington, D.C. The sporting community, all of our organizations, everybody responded so well, burned up that Capitol switchboard. Our people did. We should be proud of that. But remember, that's what it takes. So right now we've held that in check. But for everybody in our community, park it, and be ready to engage when necessary. Again, in Mississippi, you often feel, we don't have anything to worry about where you live in Mississippi. You have 1.5 million acres of public land, and national forests were part of that plan to transfer acreage to private hands. So let's just be vigilant, be ready. That's where we are right now. We're carefully monitoring all the discussion and all the backroom chatter to try to just completely divert this going forward so it never reaches the floor, so to speak, ever again.
Hey, I think, Todd, one of the things we have working for us, certainly we see that here in Mississippi with a with a legislative sportsman's caucus. We see this in other states as well. We see this in D.C. And maybe, I know that there's never a such thing as complete bipartisanship, but when it comes to the outdoors, we can get pretty darn close to it. So there's definitely a way, there's definitely an effort that is a bipartisan effort to kind of cause efforts like Mike Lee's to stand down, isn't there?
There is, and it was wonderful for me to see. I've worked for our community for 30 years now. D's and R's in my 30 years have changed dramatically, who my friends and enemies, so to speak, are. This was great to see. Yeah, this at some level anyway. And in today's politics, that's saying something. We had D's and R's saying not 1 acre. You're not going to sell off public land. You're not going to do it during the budget process. You're not going to sneak it through. So it was kind of cool to see. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we don't have time to get into this other one because we're literally out of time, but you've had this CDC lawsuit that's been hanging out there around puppy imports. If people want to go do a search on the Sportsmen's Alliance, you can get the latest on that lawsuit. The next time we have Todd back, we'll dive into that just a little bit more so you can see it. But for now, that's it for today with Todd. Todd, it's been a pleasure to spend some time with you, my friend.
Thank you, Ricky. I enjoyed it. Take care, okay?
Yeah, you bet. Todd Adkins from the Sportsmen's Alliance. It's been a pleasure. When we come back on the other side, we're going to have my buddy Kyle Johnson join me. We're going to talk about fishing in coastal Mississippi. It's been a great summer. Got some rain finally, but that's okay. But we'll get an update from him about how things are going. We'll see you after this.